Hi, friends. This reflection is for the 28th Sunday of Ordinary Time. So we look at the second book of Kings and the Gospel of Luke. What's in common with the two? Well, we hear about this leprosy. So for those of us who don't understand, at the time of Jesus and long before that, before we had advanced medicine and what have you, vaccines, if you trust it, of course, there used to be a disease called leprosy. And basically what it is basically sores all across your skin. And with the inefficient medicine back in the day, they would form communities with the people with the same condition. So this would be kind of like you create the community. If you have leprosy, you're living among people with the same condition. And of course, we didn't have the isolation rooms, places where you have to quarantine for several days, the liking. And, people live there, and then those who are in good health, they have to stay over here, but they were forbidden to visit those people. That didn't change Jesus' motive, of course. See what I'm thinking here? All right. Now, I think what we look at here is that we see this theme of Thanksgiving in the first reading as well as the gospel. The reason I mentioned Thanksgiving is that Naaman and the leper both returned to Jesus, giving thanks for what has happened. And Jesus questioned the fact, well, there were 10 people that were sent to go heal, were they not? What happened to the other 9? And only 1. I think what we see here, folks, is that we kind of take things for granted. And I think most of us have been guilty of this. We have taken life for granted. We have taken the mercies of God for granted. And I think most of us, and I'm not trying to judge anybody, but I think we also have taken the sacrament, even the teachings of the church, for granted. And it's sad, because we don't take time to give thanks. Even St. Paul reminds us in the letter to Thessalonians, in all circumstances, give thanks. And what happened was that leper who was cured, and just like Naaman, both of them acknowledged the fact that their faith in God saved them. Likewise, there will be times where our faith will save us from atrocities, from oppression, from times where we could have been dead, to when we're going through times of desperation. God's mercy flows through every circumstance in life. We have to pause and acknowledge that. St. John Henry Newman puts it well when he said, Let us thankfully commemorate the many mercies he has granted to us in time past, the many sins he has not remembered, the many dangers he has averted, the many prayers he has answered, the many mistakes he has corrected, the many warnings, the many lessons, the much light, the abound comfort he has from time to time given. St. John Henry Newman lays it perfectly, and his feast day falls on October 9th, which I think most of us by now are celebrating, especially the congregation of the oratory at my parish where I live. I was even reminded of that. The basic point that St. John Henry Newman makes is he wants all of us to return in thanksgiving, just like the leper, just like Naaman. We must return to God, giving thanks for what he has done to us. And of course, as St. Paul reminds us to his letter to Timothy, if we have died with him, we shall also live with him. If we persevere, we shall also reign with him. Now he gives us a warning. But if we deny him, he will deny us. If we are unfaithful, he remains faithful, for he cannot deny himself. Friends, as we celebrate, as we get very close to the end of ordinary time, and as we dove deeper, because we're getting ready for the biggest moment in all the accounts of the Gospels, let's take time to give thanks. Let's take time to count our blessings. Let's return to God in thanksgiving, for everything has happened. God's mercy is endless. He is waiting for us to seek his mercies and to return to him. He wants us also to return to the sacraments. He wants us also to return with steadfast courage, because he wants us to be saved through him. In all circumstances, give thanks. God bless.